Hi everyone, good evening. Let's stand by. Let's stand by while people join in. Let's stand by while people join in. I'm gonna push this a little further away from me because it's too close. Yeah. Um. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Elhannah Alexis, and this is Outside the Box. We're a little late. I started an earlier live, and as usual, I had some difficulties, so I had to start the video over again. So bear with me. I know a lot of people were looking at the electoral reform debate, and so I figured I didn't really need to be so on time because maybe some people are going to be looking at that anyway. But I tried to be on time for 9:30, and it didn't really work out as I planned. However, um, this is what we have now. So we have a few topics to discuss today. So many things are happening. There are so many things that I want to talk about, but I won't have enough time, and I don't want to make the video too long. So I'm just going to select just a few things to speak about. Um, so let me just wait until a few people get in. Okay, I see there's two people. It says there's two people. Two is better than nobody, right? But I can't see who is on. I can't see who are the two people that are on. Um, just won't let me. It just won't let me see who is on. But let me just try one more time. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna ever be able to see what's on. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just try to go on there. Okay, here we are. This is right here. I don't want any volume on it because it will cause disruption, so I'll mute it. Yeah, it's muted. Okay, so we are live with another broadcast of Outside the Box. My name is Elhannah Alexis, and we have a number of things to talk about today. We have a number of things to talk about today. So the United Workers' Party has presented their entire team to the Dominican public. They have 21 representatives. Unfortunately on the photo, I mean, I don't know why the coincidence. Unfortunately, the one of their representatives, Miss Noreen John, she passed away. And sadly, even before she was actually formally introduced or launched as a candidate. Yes, she did not make the poster, and unfortunately, may her soul rest in peace. She passed away yesterday, I believe. So I hope that her family is given the strength to bear the loss. But the team, I guess the United Workers' Party is going to have to search for somebody else. I guess they're not speaking about that right now because now they're mourning the death of the lady. So I guess it would be rude to start thinking about a new candidate right now. But I guess soon they are going to have to start their search again to find another candidate. So that is that. So they introduced us to their team. So over the weekend, what was that? That was Sunday. While the United Workers Party was introducing us to their entire team, the Dominica Labour Party was launching the Casabos candidate, Mrs. or Miss Octavia. What's the last name? I forgot. Anyway, they were launching their Casabos candidate. And so at that time, yes, over on Saturday, it was a big competition, between the United Workers Party supporters and the Labour Party supporters, because at that time, that is one occasion where you had the entire island being split in half, where some, either in roseau, in blue or white or grey or whatever color, if they didn't have a shirt, because apparently the United Workers Party has not been able to provide shirts for all the supporters, so it seems like they're wearing all different sorts of colors. That is understandable because the United Workers Party is not the ruling government, and so they may not have accessibility to as much funds as the Workers Party, as the Labour Party may be privy to. But although we know that it's an unfair playing field, no matter what, according to the rules, I mean, the funds are supposed to be sourced from their own means, and the Dominican Labour Party is supposed to source funds on their own. But however, I mean, no matter how you look at it, it will be very difficult for the party to separate themselves from the government in terms of using finances. And then there's no real way of finding out and to prove or to know exactly if they're using the Treasury's finances or if they're using their own finances or how they're coming about with their finances. And that is one of the things that we need in our laws. We need our laws to be amended so that campaign funds can be regulated, the sources of campaign funds can be regulated, and the government, the ruling government, the ruling administration, the party itself will be able to be separate from the government in terms of being able to spend funds on their campaign. But the system that we have now, it allows for the United Workers Party and the Dominica Labour Party to be so different in terms of what they can afford for the campaign, because the Dominica Labour Party may be privy to or may be able to access funds through ties through the government, or with that the CBI funds. So some of the CBI funds could be put aside for the Labour Party, because as I already believe, and a lot of people know or believe, the Dominica Labour Party basically, the government basically claims the CBI money. So the CBI money is kind of like considered by the government as their money. So we don't know how that stands. So nobody knows exactly where all this money is coming from, because the way that the Labour Party is launching candidates, they're launching candidates in a lavish manner. They're spending a lot of money just to launch one candidate. And if they have to launch all 13 candidates, that's 13 times what we see every like weekend these days. If they have to launch every candidate like that, you can imagine all that money. I'm thinking they might have spent a good $50,000 just for one launching, right? At least $50,000 for launching. Imagine 13 launchings, right? So that is a lot of money. And obviously the United Workers Party doesn't have that kind of money. However, the United Workers Party has been launching candidates in a kind of undercover kind of way. I don't want to say undercover because clearly it's not something that they're hiding. But it's like for the launchings, most of the launchings, I would see it like the day before or the very night. And they were all at night. And I find it kind of funny that all of them been launched at night. What happened to the weekends? What happened to the days? What happened to the afternoons and so forth on the weekends, that you could actually get them to people? You could get the support of all the supporters of the party. at that location. Because the other thing is people are looking at people going to the different launchings, but they're not. You cannot at the launchings. You cannot see what the support is like in the constituency, because for every launching, people come from all different parts of the island and they assemble at one place. So what you see is not the constituency. You have no idea what the constituency support looks like. So with all this going on, we have no idea what the constituency support is like, because the entire island of supporters is at that one venue. And so that's kind of like, I was just looking at kind of like the differences between the way that the United Workers Party has been launching their candidates, and versus how the Labour Party has been launching candidates. And we can see that looks like, the rich man and the poor man. You can clearly see it, but I hope that it can be a level playing field in some other way. But the thing is that votes is what counts. At the end of the day, people sit with their own conscience, and they sit inside of the people sit inside of the quarters, and they think and they put that mark wherever their conscience guides them to put it. So even if somebody was paid money and told to vote a particular party, when they get inside to vote, they are free to choose whatever party they want to vote for. And that's another thing. I think I have some pictures of when I have some pictures of the different rallies. I think, is it this one? Is it this one? No, it's not that. Okay, it's probably, no, it's not that one. It's not that one either. It's not that one. Oh, is that? It's not that one. Okay, so clearly I don't, what is this? Okay, so I don't have the pictures. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. Can you believe? Anyway, let me just go on to the chat and see who's there. Hi, Narissa. I hope I'm not too late answering you. I hope you're still here. Hi, it's nice to see you on. You look like a lone ranger, but stay strong. Okay, so what we're talking about is just my views on the political scene right now for now, and I am just expressing my opinion in terms of what it looks like from where I stand. So I was saying that there seems to be a lot of differences between the way that the two parties are launching candidates. You can clearly see that one party has money and the other doesn't have any money. But that, as I was saying, this is not a major issue, and we should not be looking to get stuff. We should not be looking just to get t-shirts and merchandise from the party that we support just for the sake of having stuff. I'm going to add a picture here. Where did it go though? This is weird. Anyway, so I was going to show that picture, but it doesn't want to show itself. I just cannot find it for some reason. So I'm going to continue my talk. And one of the things I was wondering, where is the Freedom Party in all of this? In 2016, we heard that they were getting back together and they were building up again. In 2017, they had a new leader, and he appeared to be very promising, and it kind of like started giving people a little more hope that things, it's not all lost. I mean, we are going to have three parties to choose from. People were feeling like, yeah, the political scene is improving because we have one more party coming back into the ring. And it was a good feeling to know that there was another party, there was another alternative to the two parties that we are presently faced with. But just all of a sudden, we're not just not hearing anything about the Dominica Freedom Party. So the Dominica Freedom Party is missing, and the last time we saw anything about the Dominica Freedom Party was when the leader showed up in the Spotlight show with Ferdinand Frampton. And if anyone sees him, please tell him that we are looking for him.
Of the Dominica Freedom Party. Join me on Monday night with Ferdinand on In the Spotlight program. Come, let's discuss together the vision for our country. Where do we want our country to go? The kind of country we want. Looking forward to seeing you.
Right, so that was the last time that we saw I don't know about you, but that was the last time that I saw or heard anything from the leader of the Dominica Freedom Party. And so I want to say that we are all wondering what happened to the Freedom Party, because it's like right now we're in something like the brunt of elections, things rolling right now, and we're not seeing anything, we're not hearing anything about the Freedom Party. So we want to know what's going on. All right. Anyway, I got my pictures back, so I'm gonna share a few pictures so we can talk about a few things. I want to take this and put it up with it. Oh gosh, I cannot do it. Okay, I can't do it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that. Okay, so I know the internet, we have a lot of access to a lot of stuff and information, and we can get information like that very quickly. People talking about a lot of things on the internet. The news channels, all the media is sharing a lot of information with us, and a lot of people are having problems digesting that information or interpreting that information. And the bad thing is that a lot of the our media houses, especially the internet media, what we can actually read, what is actually accessible to everybody, and even on the radio and the TV, traditional mediums, we are not given the information. We're not being given the information in a way that anybody can understand. And one of those things I think that is missing in, let's say, our news, let's say if they're giving, if you're looking at the news and they're speaking about something about economics, I believe that there should be somebody, probably an economist. They should have some kind of correspondent that probably is versed in a particular field, even if it's medical field, a correspondent that is versed in a particular field to probably give an interpretation of something in the news, or give an opinion, or give some facts, share some facts from a perspective of knowledge, so that people can get a better idea of things. They just spit things out exactly as they are, and sometimes the words that they use, I mean, not everybody is going to research a word. Some people are just going to spit those things back out and sound like they know what they're talking about, but they have no clue exactly what it is about. So, and then we have people not knowing those things, and then they're saying things that are just, you wonder. And when I later on in the discussion, because I have something coming up, a topic that deals with people not actually educating themselves on something and on a topic before they actually go out there and talk and say something. And I have a problem with that. If I don't know about something, I don't go and talk about it. And if I don't know about it, I will say I don't know much about it, but I think this and that. Right? So um, so this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about too. Um, I have a little I have a little hitch. I have a little hitch there. You see? Okay. So anybody who's joining the live now, welcome. And oh, um, gosh, it's getting okay. Let's see, like this. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to go back through this thing because I did not. Okay. Right. So I'm just looking at some things that that caught my attention. I want to speak about. So this thing, I saw this. So the Prime Minister invited all youth from the village of Vekas to a meeting at his residence, date 17th of May 2019, time 6 p.m. Youth only, ages 16 to 35. Right? I'm not. Sometimes I even say that I'm not sure about the authenticity of this because that's very weird. And what's even more weird is nothing came out of it. So I'm sort of starting to think that it probably wasn't true because nothing came out of it. Nobody said anything. I don't know if nobody went. There was actually nothing said about it. So I kind of have a feeling that it didn't take place or this wasn't real. Um, I'm not sure if it is, but it seems like it may have been somebody just writing something to have something to talk about, because I find it weird and I find it kind of, why would he invite people to his home in that way? It's kind of weird. And this was something else. People, I guess the Caressa, I mean, Caressa, for years, Caressa has been singing songs against the government, and the people, and the thing is calypso and those things are entertainment. A person's political affiliation doesn't necessarily reflect the way they're going to entertain the crowd or entertain or make a song and whatever it is. I'm not sure where he stood before, but people should, that's an example and a lesson to people that they should not let entertainers songs and what they do to entertain people influence their thinking about whatever party affiliations they have. I'm not sure, if we do not know if Caressa was always a Liberite. We do not know, and he was just singing his songs because he likes to make these kinds of songs, and that is his talent and that is his skill. We don't know if that is it. A lot of people say he was paid. I don't think he would have to be paid for him to just be supporting the party that he was always supporting. Nobody knows what he was supporting before. The man never came out and said that he was a labor or he was a workers. So when you just put your own solution, your own conclusion to whether the man was voting one party or another, that doesn't make sense. So that is a good example to people. Stop trying to put songs and entertainment in the perspective of what people are voting for. So that's a good example to you guys. Stop it. So when people vote, when people sing the song, enjoy the song, sing the song, enjoy it, and do not take that as an indication of what party they support. So this is something else we also saw. I also came across, and I agree with that as well. I agree with that because I remember in 2014 during election time, he was posing with the same guys, right? These guys were strong supporters of the United Workers Party. They were supporting strong. They were representing, and I guess they got all the young people they were influencing all the young people for them to vote the United Workers' Party, right? I'm sure all those young people in Bafa State and Roseau Central and the rest of Roseau Central that were voting, I saw a lot of them that voted, and they voted for United Workers' Party. They voted because of all the pumping and the pushing and whatever it was that these blue guys were doing for the United Workers' Party. So now that the blue has turned to red, but still wearing blue, they know they're bad guys. I mean, make up your minds. They were not. They were. I'm sure they didn't change their lives from when they were supporting the United Workers' Party. They are the same. They're living the same lives, doing the same things. They're the same people. So why were they okay in 2014 and they're not okay now? That's the question, right? So I agree that, if it was good for the gander, it is good for the goose. And then, so as earlier on, I was talking about the crowds. So we had big crowds in both of the meetings or luncheons or whatever you may call it. There were large crowds at both places, and the thing about it that can probably give you an indication of, I think crowds don't give you an indication, but this one may have been the best indicator. Why? Because on that very day there were two events about the same time, and so you were either here or there. So if you were at the United Workers' Party, you couldn't have been at the Labour Party one. However, MO News was at both, so that kind of like cancels on what I just said. However, people, if you're not media, you wouldn't want to be at both. You would want to be wherever you are. You would not just go to Castlebrooks and come down to Roseau just for you to say something or to prove a point. You will want to go and support your party, right? So what we saw there, we saw a lot of people there. One thing I can see in the crowd, I can see a lot of white shirts and different colors. As we know, the United Workers' Party doesn't have as much money as does the Dominica Labour Party. So all the merchandise, there's no money. You don't see much merchandise and those kind of things out there. You just see people supporting the party, and it's nice that people actually came out, because I mean, when they have demonstrations, people don't come out. People are afraid to talk. People are afraid to express themselves. People may be supporting the United Workers' Party, but they cannot really admit it. They can only admit it in the polls. So there are many people that may not want to come out and support, and I guess a lot of them came out. And there's something that I notice in the crowd when I look at it, when I look at those United Workers' Party rallies or whatever they call it. When you look in the crowd, you see you see people like they look sad. They look like they look like forgotten children, like children that are abandoned and forgotten. That's how they look. That's the kind of look they have on their face and in their whole attire, the way they carry themselves. They kind of look like, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to sound offensive, but they kind of, you see a sad look in their face, like they really, 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 really need something to change. And we all need something to change. And I guess these people that go out there, they are the ones that are brave. Although sometimes the things that they do and the things that they say, it can make someone angry, or it can make somebody like not support the things that they do. But the fact that they go out there and they actually are brave enough to express themselves, that is good. Because if they were not doing that, even some of them that are foolish, if they were not doing that, then it would have been dead long time ago. So I'm just saying what I feel about the crowd when I see the crowd sometimes. And then we have those big crowds in the Dominican Labour Party. As you can see, you see a lot of red, right? If you see blue, there is a blue jeans. It's not really blue shirt or anything, right? There's a lot of people in both of them. And so was that Saturday or Sunday? That was Sunday. So on Sunday I had my screen, and on my screen I had both live broadcasts on the same screen, because I wanted to see what was going on at all times in both of them, and I would just be switching from one to the other. Um, I would just be switching from one to the other because I want to see what's going on on both sides. And then I I I took some photos of the two of them at certain times. However, I cannot access it right now. So there was the viewership on the official live broadcast of the Dominica Labour Party averaged at 500. The viewership on the United Workers Party averaged on 950, and it reached 1,000. The official broadcast on the United Dominica Labour Party didn't reach 1,000. However, there were other people playing watch parties, and some of them were like 100. I saw one was 184 for the most, and other people smaller than that. However, I was at one time I was looking at MO News, and she had like 500 people on, and then the United Workers Party at that very time they had like 1,000. They actually reached 1,000. So I think there were more people. I believe there were more people looking at the United Workers Party online than they were looking at the Labour Party online. It could be because more of the Dominica Labour Party supporters were actually there and not online than the people that were looking at the Workers' Party one. And it could be that some of them were just like me, who were looking at both at the same time. However, it is true that I do believe strongly that the viewership in terms of internet viewership online of the Workers' Party one was higher, because I was looking at both of them at the same time. So it was definitely higher. And that also tells you something. That tells you that there's a lot of people, because those people, all those 500 and 900 people who are looking, most of them are not in Dominica. If they were in Dominica, they would have been there. Most of them are overseas. So that kind of tells us that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of Dominicans outside of Dominica. They are actively participating in the process. They're actively paying attention to the process. And so they all deserve and should actually have a right to vote in the election. So even that residence clause and so on, all that should be removed. And that is the other thing. Next time I want to talk about electoral reform. But the thing with the electoral reform, I mean, there's not a need for a complete overhaul. There are just a few things that need to be changed. You know, like number one, we need to enforce that. Actually, there's one thing that we can do without even having to do any kind of reform. One thing we have to do, we have to enforce the part of the act or the part of the law that says that people, the voter list, people who are living on island, what does it say? It says people, if you have lived outside for less than 5 years, then you qualify to vote, right? We do not need to remove anybody, because nobody can prove if somebody has been living outside for 5 years or more, right? But the dead people can be removed from the list. Death certificate, and even you and me, if you know that your mother is dead, your father is dead, your uncle is dead, and you know they're still on the list, you take the death certificate and go to the polling the office in your constituency and have it changed. So we do not need, everybody keep talking about dead people on the electoral list, but we do not need a reform to get the dead people off the list, right? Now the reform that we need will remove any need for people to prove their residency. As long as you're a citizen, you should have a right to vote. And that is what a lot of countries have been trying to remove, that residence thing from their laws. And people like to boast and talk about American laws and whatever it is. Americans anywhere in the world can vote, you know? And if you're not an American citizen, you cannot vote. So you can be in the United States for 10 years with a green card, and you're not a citizen, you didn't get your citizenship, you cannot vote, right? Countries are different. It's different in different countries. Now, in Dominica, if you're a resident for 6 months or a year or something like that, you are able to vote. A lot of countries have that as well. If you're a resident for a particular amount of time, you will have a right to vote. right? And so we have a situation where Dominicans are thinking that it has to be exactly like another country. It doesn't have to be exactly like another country. People living outside of Dominica should be able to vote. I mean, I am not sure if I could trust, if we could trust any, like, if we would be able to actually, um, I have to word it properly. I don't know if we would really be able to actually do it efficiently enough so that we can trust the votes, the overseas votes. But it should be no crime to live outside of Dominica for 20 years and come home and vote. It should be no crime for you to live out of Dominica for 10, 15 years and come home to vote, as long as you are not being bribed. And the United Workers' Party claims that that is their main issue and their main gripe. However, I don't think that that's the main gripe. I think that they somehow believe that because the Dominican Labour Party has money and is able to fund things and sponsor things and give things, they believe that they will be the Labour Party is at an upper hand and they're at a disadvantage. And so that is why they want to change. But I believe that if they were in the opposite position, if they were the ones that in control, they would be just like the Labour Party, not wanting to change much that will affect their upper hand. And that's the thing. The thing is with human beings, when you're not the government, you have a lot of solutions. But when you are the government, you fail to see what those solutions are. And that is a problem. That's a human problem. It's not to do with any particular person. It's just a human problem. So in a nutshell, we had these events on the weekend, and people went out there and supported the party, and we could actually see a cut down the center of Dominica. Who is in Roseau, and who is in Casabus was in Casabus. And that's how it was. So we're moving on to the next thing. I want to talk about some things that the leader of opposition has been saying, and I kind of have concerns about some things that the leader of opposition, Lennox Linton, has been saying. For example, a couple of weeks ago, if you think a couple of weeks ago, this is what he said. A couple of weeks ago, the Lennox Linton said that if the United Workers get into power, they will control the number of Haitians coming to Dominica. I find that is the most ridiculous thing that a man who wants to be in power should say. You know why? Because in this world that we're living now, we're in 2019, we are living in a global environment. What we have is global citizenship. People are trying to make the world get smaller. What we actually seeing happening is people are moving around. Immigration is a big thing right now. People do not want to just stay wherever they were born anymore. People want to go wherever they feel like the life is best for them or will be best for them, right? As a man who wants to be the leader of Dominica, knowing that Dominica has a very low population. Dominica has a low population, and the migration rate in Dominica is very high. People leave. Any chance they get to go, they leave. Anytime they get a little chance, they will leave, right? So Dominica's population has been decreasing over the past few years, and especially with Maria, so many people left and they have not come back. So I do not think that a man who wants to lead a country where people have been for years living and going to other people's countries to make a better life for themselves, I do not think that a man who wants to lead a country will put this as one of his things that he wants to do. Why do you want to control the Haitians entering the country? Isn't that discrimination? Why the Haitians only? I'm sure you would also want to control you'd also want to control the Chinese in the country as well. But why? Why would you want to control the Haitians, the number of Haitians in Dominica, as something that you want to do when you come into government? Haitians are people too, and Haitians work hard. I mean, Haitians work very hard, and sometimes they do things and they get into areas that Dominicans do not want to go into. or Dominicans are not brave enough to go into, or for some reason Dominicans just didn't think about doing it because they preferred to get a handout or something like that. I mean, there was a time when we had a number of barbershops in Roseau, right? No, a number of barbershops in Roseau. The local barbershops that are in Roseau, most of them are the old barbershops that used to be there before. You know, people that the old barbershops, like the one, I don't know their names, right? But there's one. There used to be one by the Roseau bus stop by the bridge. I don't know if that guy is still there. And I remember long ago there was Campeche and there was I can't remember those names. But anyway, there were a number of barbershops in Roseau, and there are just a few of them left. And the thing is that most of those local barbershops that are left, they are those old guys that were there a long time, their whole life barbering, or they probably have new guys in the shop, but they own their shop. So it's like Dominicans have not been going and doing it. But you know what? Haitians have been opening barbershops all over Roseau. When I first came back from studies and I went into Roseau, I saw so many barbershops and they were all Haitians. And the Haitians would employ other Haitians, and you know, we have a whole barbershop of Haitians. We have a whole industry of Haitian barbers in Dominica. And there's no barrier to entry into into that area. You know, you just make up your mind to do it. You learn how to cut hair, and then you make up your mind to start your own business and get a little place in town and rent it. If the Haitians can do it, Dominicans can do it as well. So I really totally do not support that mission that he would have to control the number of Haitians in Dominica. I mean, yes, you do not want, nobody wants their country to be taken over by other people. And that is the same way that other countries feel when people like Dominicans and other people in the Caribbean come and take over their little areas in the world. You know, so many Dominicans going away. I mean, why would you even mention that? You know, that's not something that you would even mention. You probably would have that in your mind, but that's not something that will gain you political points. I don't think so, because I mean, what is the problem with Haitians right now? What is the issue? People are saying that the prime minister is going to use them to sway votes, or probably use them to vote illegally. I mean, I think the law states that if you're legally living in Dominica for 6 months or a year or something like that, you, either 6 months or a year, you have the right to vote. So you want to change the laws because it might not work in your favor? All you have to do is appease the Haitians too. You know, if appease everybody. I mean, the thing is, right? The United Workers Party fails to realize that politics is all about appeasing people and getting and representing what people want, representing what the people want. So you need to represent people and show people that you're going to get what they want. You don't want to try to stigmatize certain things and alienate people. And that thing, you want to bring people together. You want to be the uniting factor in everything. So when you start saying you want to limit the Haitians and so forth, those Haitians that are presently in Dominica that have the right to legally vote because they're legal residents in Dominica for the for the um for the required time that you need to be before you vote, they have the legal right to vote. So when you say things like that, you're not going to get the Haitian votes. You know, so I think that Lennox Clinton has not understood politics yet. I mean, it's probably difficult to understand because politics is a science. It's a science. So if you can just come and try to and think you can understand politics completely without doing anything and doing any research and not learning anything, and people go to school to study political science and all those things for them to understand politics properly. I mean, he needs to try to understand where he is and what he's doing first, because I think this is very irresponsible. Number two, Haiti is part of CARICOM. We should all be trying to get Haiti. We should all be trying to get the Haitians to be treated equally as other CARICOM members. I don't see why a particular leader should be putting that on his memo, putting that on his list of things to do when he comes into power, to further alienate and further discriminate against Haitians. This is wrong and it doesn't make sense. All right, Lennox Linton, so think about that again. And there's something else that he said that I find to be uninformed, and I find to be uninformed and ignorant. It was this thing, right? So just yesterday, or was it yesterday or today, Lennox Linton said that he wanted to, the United Workers' Party is planning to keep the NEP, but improve it, right? I have no problems with that. But what he's stressing on that he wants to change with the NEP is not even the main thing, or it's not even the main issue or what's wrong with NEP. I think I want to do a whole discussion on NEP, because as a person that actually worked with NEP with my degrees, I think that what he's saying is completely wrong, and I just want to read it and go through it, because what he's saying doesn't make any sense. And as a person that is the leader of the opposition party that is supposed to be the eyes of the people and looking for the interests of the people, I believe that he should acquaint himself with the programs properly and get an informed opinion of it without being so ignorant and listening to people that do not know exactly what's going on. Right? So Lennox said that we have said we will continue the National Employment Program, but the National Employment Program over time will become a lot more than what it is right now in terms of preparing people for the world of work. Linton said recently, the way the National Employment Program runs right now, which essentially is providing employment for people to clean the sides of the road and certain beautification initiatives, that's not new. So what the man is saying is that NEP is only being used to employ people to clean the side of the roads. Really? So I was cleaning the side of the road then? I didn't realize I was cleaning the side of the road. That's what I was doing now? Oh, I was cleaning the side of the road and I didn't even realize. According to Linton, the Public Works Department was taking care of that responsibility all over the country. That's not true. Anyway, that is not true either. The Public Works Department was not cleaning the sides of the roads and the drains and so on. The different village councils used to take, because I remember as a child growing up, I grew up in Fokole. I remember as a child growing up, we had the Roseau City Council would send people. We had people who lived in Fokole, obviously, were employed with the Roseau City Council, and these people every day were cutting grass, cleaning the drains, sweeping the road and those things every day. Or that was their job. It was through the Roseau City Council. Or I guess so outside of Roseau, that job would have been for the people that would have been for the particular village council or whatever would be responsible for getting people to clean the roads and so forth and beautify and those things, right? So that wasn't Public Works job. Public Works job was more doing the the construction work, the public construction work, and digging those, building the roads, patching the roads, those kinds of things. It wasn't about cutting grass and cleaning the side of the road. The only time Public Works would actually be cleaning the side of the road is the major one, like cleaning the main roads, or what you call the highways. Alongside the highways, we would have the Public Works would be doing that along the highways, because it would not really fall inside of any village or community, so it was something that would have to be taken care of by the umbrella organization, umbrella. So that is what was happening. So that is not true, Lennox Linton. And I can tell you, I grew up watching Roseau City Council coming and cleaning the drains and cutting the grass and cleaning, right? Now, what you said about the NEP is completely wrong. That is not all what NEP does. NEP has people in all kind of different areas. The way NEP operates is that if you have your small business, you can register with NEP and ask for somebody like a secretary or whatever it is. NEP will employ somebody and they will pay them, and you as your small business, you cannot afford, let's say if you cannot afford to hire a secretary, you go through NEP. You get a person, that person will be employed by NEP. NEP will be able to pay that person better than you would be able to pay, because you cannot afford a secretary. So that was the main purpose of the NEP. The NEP was designed so like that. So not just to give people work experience, but also to provide free um, free service, somewhat free service to small businesses as well, and organizations, even non-profit organizations, so that they are able to employ somebody, and then that person can come in and they can see their production or their productivity increase during the time the person is there. And then while the person is there and the productivity increase, now they're now being able to afford to employ that person. So after some time they would be able to remove the person from the NEP program and actually employ that person. So that is the original design of the program. And because I guess wanting to provide that kind of experience and service to different areas and sectors of the economy and to different people, you cannot only provide it to people that can read and write and people that can sit down in office and whatever it is. So I guess this part of it was added because you want to employ the people who have no marketable skills as well. Even if someone has no marketable skills, they didn't go to school, they're illiterate or whatever it is, you can they can have something to do as well. Or if somebody just that's what they want to do, they like beautifying, they like cleaning and so forth, they can choose to do that, right? But that is not all what NEP is. There are a number of people working in the ministry, dress up nice and going up and down, and they're under NEP, they're working under NEP in the ministry, right? I have a few reservations about that ministry thing because a lot of people are working as NEP and they have been there in the ministry as NEP without any job security for years, which I don't support. But the notion that NEP is just for people sweeping the streets, that is wrong, and that is so wrong that you wouldn't expect the leader of opposition to actually come out and say those things, because it sounds really stupid. And it's disappointing, really, for you to so strongly disagree with something and want to change something, but you do not know exactly what it is. Now, I can tell you that, and why I can say so strongly about what I'm talking about is because I was employed via NEP, and how I got employed via NEP was I came back from studies with my master's degree in public administration, and so I came back as a professional that would be able to manage any non-profit organization or governmental agency organization, or do whatever it is in government departments or whatever, right? So I came with that qualification, and I wanted to practice in the government sector, do something in that way. So what I did was I prepared a proposal and I went to the PS, and I told her what I can do and what I want to do, and she saw what I presented, and she was interested, and she said, okay, well, that's great. And so we decided that we were going to work. So what I did, I was working sort of like a consultant, but under NEP. NEP was paying my salary. So the thing happened. What happened was, like, instead of having to go through the long ruling experience of having to apply for an open position or something, or having to open a position for that, what I did, I got hired via NEP, and NEP was paying my salary. Now, NEP has different salary ranges, so my salary was upwards of $2,000 because it was degree related, and so it wasn't. I think they were paying me based on someone with a degree, and I think I can't remember if it was specific of if they have one for masters or if they have one for bachelors or whatever. But I was being paid based on the fact that I had a degree. So I was being paid, not how much I would have been paid if it was an actual job, but it was not so bad, right? And it was a good thing to have while I look for something else, or while I try to do something, while I try to work with my consultancy and so forth. So it gave me some consulting experience. I worked with the Ministry of Education. I worked with the Ministry of Commerce. I was writing proposals. I was serving as a liaison between small businesses and government. Working on some things to do with small business, the business sector and the government sector. right? So this is what I was doing under NEP. So how can Lennox Linton tell me that NEP is just for people on the side of the road? And also, besides me, there were people in the Ministry of Finance. There were people in all sorts of different ministries that were NEP, right? I guess he knows that people were in NEP. Also, I have a friend that has a business, and he got two secretaries or office attendants or whatever you call them through NEP. NEP was paying their salary. He didn't have to pay their salary. He could work as a one-man thing with two office workers from NEP. So that was the main benefit of NEP. The problem with NEP comes in where people are working with NEP for years, and it should not be like that. It should be a situation where you start with NEP and then you get an actual position, right? And even like places like NDFD have taken NEP workers. NEP started, NDFD took some NEP workers, and they kept a few of them as well. So there are some workers at NEP that have permanent jobs at NDFD. There are some workers at NDFD that started there through NEP. There are also many workers at the National Bank that started via NEP, and National Bank took them after. There are many different business places where NEP was they used the services of NEP, and I guess it benefited them, and they employed the people. There were problems where NEP, like places like some of the supermarkets would take some NEP people, and they would have some bad experiences with some people, because some people don't find the value in something that they feel that was too easy, right? So some people could probably go there and not really perform so that the business would keep them, or and so forth. So the that kind of point and that kind of notion that is making that NEP is just for people cleaning the side of the road. I'm looking at this and I'm saying this is pure trash. You're talking nonsense. I mean, as a leader of the opposition, and you feel so strongly about something and you have no idea about how it works, right? So I'm not saying that the NEP is perfect. The NEP has a lot of problems, I believe, but the problems are not what we're Lennox saying there is not the problems in NEP. And as the leader of opposition, or the leader, the incoming prime minister, the man that wants to be prime minister, and you're not educating yourself enough to know exactly what NEP is about and how NEP works, talk with some people that work in NEP. Find out which businesses in Roswell have made use of NEP. Talk to people and find out those information before you go on and say those nonsense about you. It's ridiculous. Now I'm trying to understand how is Lennox Linton going to create 12,000 jobs by 2025? That's in 6 years. 12,000 jobs in 6 years? 12,000 jobs, new jobs in 6 years. What is Dominica's working population? Dominica's working population is somewhere around 20,000. So what he's saying is he's going to actually double, probably almost double the jobs we have in Dominica in 6 years. And you can see that is something from a man that has no idea how jobs are created. How does a government create jobs? A government creates jobs when he improves, when the conditions of the economy is improved, so much so that people are able to start businesses and businesses are able to flourish. Now, 12,000 new jobs in 6 years. Well, let's say election is in 2020. So in 5 years, he's going to create 12,000 jobs. How? Right? So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you need to tell us how you're going to do it. So he's saying that he's going to create 12,000 new jobs by the end of 2025. And then at that point, the National Employment Program will take on a completely new meaning and perspective. What are you talking about? So is he going to create those 12,000 jobs through NEP? And he's going to make those 12,000 jobs be like, instead of being cleaning the side of the roads, now it's going to be like office jobs and all different types of jobs, architectural jobs and so forth. So is he going to like create NEP but with all the rest of the knowledge of what NEP actually is? Because I mean, that's what NEP actually is right now. I mean, NEP people are all over. So why? Okay, I'm really trying to understand where he's coming from. So a lot of some of those things that he's saying is like he's just talking to say something. No, because he has a good defense. He'll say, okay, I do not want to say how I'm going to do it because the the government will steal my ideas, right? That's what he'll say. I don't want to say what I do not want to say what I'm going to do because the government is going to steal my ideas. And this doesn't make sense because what ideas? You're gonna create 12,000 jobs in 5 years, and then the NEP program will take on a completely new, different meaning and perspective. So, what is that meaning and perspective? It will not be the same anymore. How? What is going to be the change? But there has to be a rule for preparing people for the work, the world of work in Dominica. But that is what it is. It is preparing people for the world of work. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna cry down the NEP because when I couldn't find a job and I really wanted to do consultancy and I got the opportunity to do that. Why? Because I was working kind of like not really with government, not really for government, but with government kind of. It was like a consultancy. It was like I was a consultant, but I was getting paid by the government. Right? So I was not cleaning the side of the road, Linton, and there are many NEP workers at the National Bank that started as NEP and they're now permanent at the National Bank. So go back and do some research and find out exactly what NEP is and who was in NEP and exactly how it works, and then come back and tell us how we're going to improve NEP because you have not done a good job in terms of what you said. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? So I think, yeah, those two things. I just wanted to touch on those two things about him, and it's not like I have anything against him. I just want to address those things because I find as somebody that wants to take control and that wants to show that you're better or show that you're more able to do the job than the person who's presently there. You have to impress people. You have to impress me. I'm not impressed. You know, I mean, I'm appalled at the fact that you have not taken the time to find out about those things before you actually just go and say you're going to do this and that. So at the end of the day, all those plans and all those promises you've been making, they might be as uninformed as that NEP statement. They might be as uninformed and ignorant as that Haitian statement. I mean, come on, those two things that he said, I really disagree with them. There are many things that Skerrit says that I disagree with them. And if I have to do a show about it, it will be too long. So I will attack them one by one. And some of those things, I don't even need to talk about it again because some of those things are so wrong that it's like talking about it is just a waste. You know? So I guess this is gonna be for today. I think I'm gonna make some changes and adjustments to this and rebroadcast it. Yeah. So whoever was live, but whoever didn't see it, you will see it live again next time. So with that, I'm gonna say thank you and good night. This is the end of our discussion. I think I spoke about a few things and there's many more things that I wanted to talk about. But I think I want to actually do a particular show on NEP because as a person who experienced NEP, I would like to really talk about it as someone that actually used NEP for my benefit. And because there's a lot, I think some people also need to know how to use the system to better themselves. And I think a lot of people are not taking advantage of it because they look at it as something political. And I mean, you can make use, anything that is provided for the public, anybody can make use of it. And anybody can make use of all social programs and programs that are there to help people and to improve your lives. So I think I'll do a separate show on NEP. Before that show, I was looking for my contract. I have it somewhere. I wanted to go through the contract as well because I want to show exactly where are the weak points of NEP. So I think in the next show or one of the next shows, we will talk about the weakness and strengths of the NEP, because I don't like what Leonard Clinton has just said. As the leader of opposition, he's further misleading people, and all the people who are following him, he's misleading them and making them not know the truth of the program. And so because they don't know the truth of the program, they are unable to benefit as they should from the program. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for viewing, and see you next time. Bye.